As you can see, I've toned my canvas here with gray. Of course, we're using acrylics today, so this is completely dry and ready to go. And just that way it gets rid of the white canvas, makes it that much easier. And now we can paint our misty little sky. Very misty. I mean, like 1% blue, 99% white, extraordinarily misty. Speaking of mist, it wouldn't hurt to mist the canvas. I'm literally just gonna paint this in. There you go. What's kind of nice, I just used a kind of a burnt on burnt white mess going on here. And what's nice is it gives a little warmth to everything that's going on up here. So that's very good. Hey, while we're doing this, let's take a look at your version of my last one. That was so much fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed doing that painting, that forest. So if you're interested in doing this painting, now you don't have to do it in acrylic, you just do it in oil, that'd be great too. But if you do your version in whatever medium, use watercolor, it doesn't matter. Go ahead and share using the hashtag on the screen or the special page right there. And if I see it in time, I'll get it in the next video. It'll be really fun. So as you can see, I went ahead and sketched out just a quick sketch, but my sky area is dry. I'm going to repaint this now. This is very important. Now, if you're painting oil, congratulations. You get to skip this part. But because I'm doing acrylic, sometimes it does take a couple of coats to get it just the way you want it to be. That's okay. What's kind of fun about painting it in this order here is it helps to create a little softness to that mountain that I maybe otherwise wouldn't have gotten in. Because don't you know, we're going to have a lot of mist in this painting. So I'm going to feather, make sure all my sky areas are feathered just right. So let's take some white here. Just white on the number 6 flat brush. You could use just about any brush you like. I'm gonna just carve in the beginning stages of snow and whatnot. Although, like I said, this is just the beginning stages. Nothing more than that. Light's coming across like this today. Not that, that's particularly important. As long as you keep it consistent, you could just highlight the mountain on that side and have the light come from that side. That's fine. We've all had that one tree. I don't know why I'm off on this today, but we've all had that one tree where we put the highlight on the wrong side and we don't realize it until we're all done. You've done it. I've done it. You know you've done it. It's okay. It's kind of funny, isn't it? You gotta get your paints back out and fix it because it'll just you'll never be able to look at that painting the same. All right, there. Okay, now I do want some darker things to happen up and through here. We'll do that. But look how I'm using my light to carve out the dark and create, that beautiful look. So now I'm just gonna continue. See, I just put in a little more dark in that mountain there. I'm just gonna continue working in some of my little details. There, carefully going there, not to overdo. See, I don't want to overdo. It's so easy to overdo. And because of just the nature of acrylics, that first coat of white paint that I put down became, a little bit transparent. And so I can see through it and it looks a little darker. That gives me an opportunity to place a little more, as you see, I've already done it here, a little more white down. And this time it'll be opaque because, I'm not covering such a dark color, just like you're painting a wall, 2 coats versus 1 coat. You guys know what I'm talking about, water-based paint. And of course, this is gonna transition into mist, and I'll show you how to do mist with acrylic. And I think you'll really enjoy seeing that. It's something that, once you get a hang of it, isn't so bad. There we go. And then somewhere in through here, I believe I would just keep on going. I do have just a little bit of a blue-gray mixed up here. Not just blue and white, but a blue-gray. And that helps kind of get in some shadow snow and whatnot. Even a little red if you want to make that, just whatever, it's not critical. When you're working with subtle pastel colors, just the tiniest drop of paint changes the overall look of it so drastically. So I took a quick break, and as you can see, my paint's dried up a little bit, but by misting them with water before I left, check this out. They didn't fully dry, and I think I can get them back. But it's not the end of the world if you need to get more paint. I just wanted to show you, if you missed your palette, if you need to go take a break, then you can usually get back to it if you don't take too long. Anyway, there you go. I'm just going to continue where we kind of left off. I'm just creating more of these big shapes. Here's my waterfall. Just underpainting this, with loose strokes, maybe a little more white in it. Sometimes, see, it's basically the same color, actually like a little darker. Basically the same color, but there's more paint, and I got that white in there. once we get this underpainted, that's when the real fun begins. We're gonna work here with the mist and float a lot of mist in and then do our foreground and oh, it's gonna be pretty. It is going to be so good. I can already see it. I'm picturing it already. Oh, it's good. There, you gotta get excited, even if there's nothing to get excited about yet. So now I'm gonna take kind of a soft, very, very soft white. Maybe got a little mud in it, a little blue, little mud, something. Just so it's not pure, but it's close. I'm gonna continue to mist. Now, this is just dry enough where I think I can get a little water on it without causing any big issues. And here we go, just a little bit of paint. I'm going to roll my brush. And you're probably gonna end up having to do this in stages. You do one stage, allow it to dry completely. There's your secret for today. If you don't learn anything else with me today, do this in stages, allowing it to dry totally. Acrylics do not like to be layered wet. Now, right up and through here, I'm gonna continue with the mist. I think I'm gonna go ahead and put a layer of mist in just for the sake of getting some of this more or less established in the mist, and then we'll probably put our trees and then do more mist on top. So many, like I said, many layers of mist going to happen in here. Each layer going over a dry canvas. Now I think I want to get one more layer of mist in, so I just wanted to show you so you kind of keep track with me how many layers we do. I bet you it's several. I really do. I'm going to continue to keep my paint fairly wet. What that does is, now this is good and dry. What that does is this allows me then to be, in fact, being a witch, because it is dry, I should be able to mist it. Anyway, it allows me to glaze that white right over and still preserve the detail underneath. Of course, there's not a whole lot of detail now, but it will matter later. The brush that I'm using is my flat blender brush. And generally this brush is used for, bringing two colors together, two wet colors together in the sky, for instance, and to do it quickly, and that's why it's so large. But for this application, well, you can see it wasn't totally dry, but for this application, I like how soft it is and the wide width of it, yeah, the wide width of it makes it just that much easier to kind of feather these larger areas of mist. I think we'll probably end up transitioning to a smaller, something like the round brush that I would normally use. So here we've got some highlight going on. Just a little bit of highlight on these rocks. Gonna make them pop just enough, Of course, water-based acrylic, I've got no issues just getting in there and giving it a quick blend. It'll rinse off my finger. So just a little water, no big deal. That's pretty good. See that shaping these little areas where that waterfall is gonna come down. Oh, that's pretty. That's really, really pretty. You can see just a couple quick and decisive strokes with a blend in the direction you want it to go. That's good stuff. Now using just the corner. This brush is really too big. Of the number 6 brush. Why am I not using something like a microfilbert brush? I don't know. Because this one was in my hand. I was waiting on this to dry. I was messing around a little more with my rocks, and so it was in my hand. So I used it. Hey, half the time, the brush that's in your hand is the right brush. There. I don't really necessarily want a large waterfall. Just enough to give a little interest. I mean, if you make it so small, then what's the point? Just enough to give it a little something. There, that looks good. Again, just sparkling up the falls here just enough. Just a little bit of sparkle to it. And so on. Good. You know what? That right there will work. So I've got this green-gray mixed up here. Somewhere in that area, and I don't know, it doesn't need to be perfect. And honestly, it's like, here's this big blank area. I'm gonna start right there. Why not? Gotta start somewhere. You might as well start right there. I'm gonna begin placing in a couple of trees. quick evergreens. All right, there we go. Got a couple of quick little leaf trees. I almost would like to see a little more orange on those. Maybe I'll do that real quick. If I get too much orange, it'll look too close potentially, but I'm gonna float more mist though. I don't know. We'll just do a little more and we'll kind of see how it goes. They're kind of indecisive today, and I think that's just wonderful. All right, now I'm going to, while I allow, because I need this to dry really good. So while I allow that to dry, I'm gonna begin to work on my little roadway here, my little path. Okay. Of course, this path is going to kind of slip back and around. Somewhere along those lines, you make your path just a little bigger than you want it, because they do tend to shrink, don't they? All right. As we come down, get a little bit more dark. There'll be like, you know, just shadows of trees and whatnot. It's gonna need a couple layers, clearly gonna need a couple layers. As you go back, perhaps you wanna get just a little bit more blue to show some depth, but maybe not quite, you know, that intense. That's awfully drastic. There. Okay. Something along those lines. You know, anyway, we'll just play around with this, continue to mush in colors. The biggest, most important thing here is that you have a nice variety of colors, a good shape. Quite a steep slope. There we are in the mountains. It's going to be a steep slope. So I've got a darker color here, and you see I've been stamping just a few, what's going to be background. You'll barely see them. You won't really be able to tell what's happening. Background leaves and whatnot up and through here. And this is what we're going to transition, actually, because I kind of have this painting more or less pre-planned, sort of, kind of, in my mind. I'm going somewhere here with a tree. So that means I want right in through here somewhere. I want some form of a little tree. All right, so there's that. And like I said, that's kind of somewhat going to be growing out from my larger trunk there. Now, let's continue putting on a bunch of dots on our canvas and hope that they look like leaves by the time we pull trunks through them. So now, before we go a whole lot further, I'm actually going to highlight. I'm going to highlight these trees that I just put in. They're very rough, very quick. No big deal. And yeah, you know, it kind of looks like a little stuff going on, kind of a forest. It kind of doesn't. But where it's going to get really exciting again is back to that mist. There we go. Probably a couple highlights just to get us a nice look, nice rounded look. That tree I'm probably not going to mist. All of these I am, all of them. So make sure that you get the highlight at least where you want it for now, because it's going to be kind of hard to go back once all the mist is in and so on. Just a reminder to continually mist your acrylic paints, otherwise they do dry out. But this right here, the whole painting, including over here, which actually was the last thing to dry, my dark tree there, it's all dry, 100% dry, and I mean really good and dry. If you do not think yours is really good and dry, wait for it. The other thing you may want to do is take a little bit of, and this is actually something I did, take some of your foundation medium and just take a clean brush and put it over the entire painting, let it dry, and it dries clear. And that gives you one more layer of protection so that I won't rub through my dry but not necessarily cured acrylic paint. So there you go. That just gives you, it's very tough. Now, okay, with all that out of the way, because yeah, I don't want to be responsible for anything bad that might happen when it comes to scrubbing. So let's scrub a little bit of our white. Oh, we gotta mix up something first. There you go. Keep this fairly wet so that it's a glaze on the canvas. I'm gonna create now my misty areas. Like I said, just the first stages. So yeah, that tree is probably gonna be in the mist, but not to the extent that, say, this waterfall is. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna rub that in, roll it in. This is called dry brush blending or glazing. The glossy, slippery foundation medium helps this blend a little easier, helps the paint to slide and not get stuck. That'll be the only big problem you run into is if your paint gets stuck. You don't want to have those hard edges, you want only soft edges. Well, now that we're done with that misty area for the most part, I'm gonna let it dry. We can go back over it again. What you're looking right there, this is 2 coats. So I did one more coat after the last one that you saw, just the same exact thing. very, very much repetitive, but oh well. There you go. Now I've got this bright yellow color going on somewhere along in here. That works pretty good. I like it. Just enough light there that shows something is indeed happening. That light coming through. Very pretty. Let's get in a little bit more, kind of a darker green here. Something with a little, maybe more yellow ochre and a little more white. Something just not quite so vivid. Almost a, you see that, almost a gray tone. I don't know. Right in through here somewhere. Yeah, that's not bad. So anyway, we'll just keep on going, just painting in the grass details, the highlights and so on. And then probably repaint those trees just to bring them out. Next, we'll focus our attention here to the roadway, the little path. And just get a little bit of highlight. You won't want too much down there. And let's warm it up. We've got so much cool color. Let's warm it up. Oh, that's prettier. Oh, that's much better. Yeah, now one really nice thing, if you overdo, you can just come back and glaze over some dark, which I probably will. I'll probably come back and glaze over some dark, especially along the lines of this tree trunk. I don't think I'm gonna worry about doing the shadow right now, you know. Paint it in more, in other words, than I want it fit actually in the finished product. And then as we go back, that color will not be sufficient. We need to go much more pale, almost that bluish tone to it, you know. There you go. That's really kind of nice, isn't it? Kind of nice. And just a little highlight. Oh, just a little touch. Don't overdo. Now I'm going to sprinkle on a couple highlights very sparingly. I don't want so much that it's kind of wacky looking or it stands out too much from everything else. I'm actually going to tone that down just a fraction, just a little highlight action on those trees. Not too much. It's pretty. It just gives the illusion of, you know, a little extra something going on. All right, then back to the microfiber brush, and I can just pull in a couple more details, kind of straighten out any areas that are a little weird. You can always add an extra dark to break areas up, and so on. Just make it look somewhat reasonable with these little trees. Like I said, you wouldn't expect to see much of a bright, distinct highlight with this much mist. That's a lot of mist diffusing the light. So you know, a strong highlight, you wouldn't expect so much up in these misty trees. Now down here at the bottom, there's some places where, yeah, well, there's some light. So, you know, you could maybe do one or two to keep it consistent. But overall, not too much of that. I think it'll just be too distracting, if you know what I mean. A little bit might be okay, like this one I'm doing right here. That's okay. But there you go. Well, that about wraps up this painting. If you enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out our website, DVDs, and brush line. Thanks for watching. Well, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Remember to subscribe if you're not already, and click the like button. It helps me out a lot. Stick around, watch a couple more videos, and stay inspired.